You are now listening to Out of the Blank.
So, welcome to Out of the Blank podcast. I'm here with Colton Brooks.
That's right. It's I believe German. So Colton Brooks.
Bruox. That's how you say it. You put a little bit of spice on it.
That's if I'm feeling, if I'm feeling especially cultured, I got to add that little spice of life into it.
You basically came from the what they thought were the best genetics.
I don't know about that. I think I'm in the majority of most white people where we're just European mutts, basically. I got some Italian, some Polish, some whatever. We don't. I don't know about you, but do you have a part of your family that doesn't talk where you're from?
What do you mean? Like they just don't talk to us, or they just don't talk like they are from the place they're at?
I mean, so I know part of my family came from Italy, and they're like, oh yeah, our great grandfather came over on the boat, and this other family came from Scotland here. But my one family, the Brooks part, we don't know. We just showed up.
Oh yeah, on a boat or something. They got that. Those air miles.
At some point, they showed up on a boat, but we don't know where from. They just arrived.
See, I don't know because I'm from every country that practically hates each other. So it's like I'm English, I'm German, I'm basically everybody that fought at one point, and I'm just so I'm a mixture. My one side of the family's from Baltimore, so they're all British, English, and then my other side of the family's from kind of a little bit near Pennsylvania, but farther a little bit west coast. So then it's they're also German and all these rare types of stuff, and I'm just so I'm basically. They just got everybody in a room and decided to have a group orgy thing. And next thing you know,
let's get these. Okay, we've had disagreements in the past, but we're going to get over it. We're going to get over right now to have these kids in America.
Those disagreements don't matter anymore. All those people that were lost, they were just that's in the past. This is the future. Have you been over to Germany and experienced what it's like over there?
I have not been. I have a buddy that went over, and I really want to go because it sounds so much fun, just exploring over there.
So apparently they're really apologetic for what they did, and it's that's gotta suck that you gotta display a whole new image, giving you schnitzels on the side of the street just because you're afraid people are gonna chalk you up to the Nazis.
I'm just please, I'm sorry.
I love it how we chalk up Hitler as being the worst reference. When anybody says, oh, you're the devil, they'll be you're Hitler. But it's he wasn't even compared to most people. There's a lot of other sick, twisted people out there that did way worse than him and killed way more people than him. But we still chalk it up to that guy. I'm pretty sure it's because of the mustache.
I think it's the mustache. I think Hitler, he was an artist. He had a flair for the making things look, distinct. The Nazis were the last, I think, big bad guys that we've had since, since the 40s. They were the last enemies that we had that were oh yeah, they're Nazis, they're bad. There's no no moral gray area. And
see, I think they were bad, but I was if you really pay attention to what they developed, it was they were so ahead of their time. That small little country was going to take over the whole entire world.
Oh no, it's insane. Even after the war, it was. I remember taking a class where the teacher was telling us it's to get to they recovered even after World War II. They recovered so quickly. It took them a couple of years, and they were less than a decade, and they were already doing better than they were pre-World War II. So yeah, the Germans are they're definitely crazy people.
Well, even now you have restrictions on them that are oh, sorry, you can't have this much power. You can't ever have nuclear weapons because we're afraid you're going to use it in a wrong way. You almost tried to before. They had to pay back so much debt. They had to do so much rebuild, all these types of stuff, which was definitely yeah, you need to have them reparations in there. But at the same time, it's if you really focus on how powerful they were becoming. And first of all, the only reason we decided to invade them was because we found out they had an atomic bomb that had inside of it was the bubonic plague.
Wait, what?
Yeah, the bubonic plague, dude. We almost like there's so many like things you don't know, like secret stuff that's not even secret. Like if you go on the CIA website, I dig down a rabbit hole in this one. But you ever heard of Operations Cherry Blossoms at Night?
No, I've not heard of that one.
It was an attack after Pearl Harbor when we bombed them at Hiroshima and Nagasaki. 5 months after that date that they all surrendered, there was a planned attack before that. That was they were going to shoot these missiles onto San Diego, and it was going to be off the coast. But there was 150 million fleas inside these bomb canisters filled with the bubonic plague, and it was
Oh, shit.
Japanese. Yeah, the Japanese. We would all be living in Japan right now. Like this would all be Japan's territory.
I I love history and conspiracies like that, so I love looking into that shit. Like I know there's been so many just weird things that the American government has done on its own against it. There's, of course, I'm blanking now because it is 6:30 in the morning.
Yeah, we already started out the podcast talking about Nazis. This is wonderful. I love it.
Hopefully, you got this on other places than YouTube because it's going to get demonetized pretty quick.
It's information. You can't be closed off to it, people.
That's true. That's true. That's what I agree with. But they're like the CIA. They did stuff. I think it was in San Francisco where they like made a gas form of LSD attached to a car and just drove around. Like, let's see what happens.
They also did Project what was it called? Project Overgrown or something like that. It was where they sprayed San Diego with like this chemical pesticide because apparently San Diego experiences a lot of like clouds and like mist and stuff. So they were trying to find a way to reduce something, but they decided to like release this pesticide, and it got a bunch of people sick, and then one person died.
Yeah.
It was like, whoa, we're testing our own population now. Like, do you know that movie Men Who Stare at Ghosts? Did you know that's based on a real place?
Yeah.
Like, that's not even whatever, like an hour away from me where they tested that. And then we had projects like, you ever heard of Project Sunshine?
It sounds familiar, but what's it about?
The CIA, like Australian government, all these different types of government were stealing corpses of family members, of like their past loved ones. They were stealing the corpses and testing radiation on them.
I mean, I feel like if I was dead, like I wouldn't care.
Yeah, but
like, that'd be cool.
Not even asking permission.
Fuck it, dude. Just strap me to it. Fool me full of everything you want. You know, I'll come back as a mutant.
You talking about grave robs? You know, there's a giant thing back in like the old school history where they had people would dig up their loved ones and take them home, like just dig them up. Like no matter if Paul was dead for a year, they're putting Paul in the armchair because they're afraid someone's going to either mess with his body or do something. So they decided, I'm just going to bring my corpse home where I can watch it.
Just set him in the chair. You know, it's like you get your dog stuffed.
Yeah, why can't you get people stuffed, right?
People stuffed. Just put grandma in the corner. And, you know, it's just nice. That's a nice conversation starter when you have family over. Friends.
Why would it be weird to stuff a person but not stuff an animal?
I don't know. I think stuffing the dog's pretty weird.
Yeah, you're giving human-like characteristics to a dog. So it's like you're treating it like it's your best friend. You're treating it like it's a person practically. It's like, isn't that weird when you have a stuffed dog? Like, I loved him so much, I didn't want to part with him. So I filled him with fluff.
I get like the hunting trophies and get that, but yeah, when it's like a beloved family pet and you're stuffing it and it's just kind of sitting there, I'm like, that's where I draw the line.
Would you say mental illness on that one, or would you date someone that's not good with compartmentalizing loss?
I don't know. I feel the people that predominantly do that are of the older generation, so they just have like a different view on things. Like, I feel if someone definitely did that now of like that was younger, like under 30, they got something's going on. They need to talk to somebody. But
I see where you're coming from with that, because my great grandfather was born in the 1920s, and let me tell you something. There was like everything from the very last drop of the milk was always used. Like he wasted nothing. Like when he ate chicken, he would eat the bone basically. Like he would suck on it for, I mean, 45 minutes just on one chicken wing, like where
Yeah.
people would just leave a lot of it on there because he didn't have food. So I'm like, that makes sense. Like you don't want to ever experience losing something, so you decide to get it stuffed. And
That's I think people correlate like why there's so many hoarders to kind of that mentality after the Great Depression, because after the Great Depression we had World War II, and then of course like the boom of the 50s, and like the economy was doing so good, everyone was just buying things because they were like, oh shit, I was poor like so long, like just a little while ago, now I'm rich. And that kind of like mentality has gone through, and that's why I forget where I saw, but it was like people had correlated that to people being like really bad hoarders. Because in this hoarder shows, it's always like an old person, and it's like that old school mentality of keep everything because you didn't used to have stuff.
I think that's also pretty common with people that don't have anything from the start and then they start to acquire a little bit of wealth. They're
Yeah,
usually people like that don't have a lot of money and and then become famous and then get a lot of money. They tend not to like spend it or flare out everywhere because they know what it's like to not have it. So they
Mhm.
appreciate it a little bit more.
It's like what Keanu Reeves. He lives in like a regular house.
Yeah, but you can't chalk up anybody to Keanu Reeves. That guy is just.
He's on a different plane of existence.
I still haven't seen John Wick.
You've not seen any John Wick.
No, every time I say that, everyone's like, you haven't seen John Wick. I'm like, is it that good of a movie?
It If you like action movies, it's good. It's a great action movie. Even if you don't like action movies, it's impressive. Like the third one, like you think, okay, a third movie they're in, it can't be as good, but it's still the shit they do in it, like just these stunts and the technical work is awesome. Some of the stuff they pull off is just it's cool to see. It's fun to see. It was like a good time in the theater. Someone just gets like an axe to the face and the whole theater laughs. You're like, haha, this is sweet.
So someone gets an axe to the face and then everybody starts laughing.
Yeah, because you're like, you think, oh, that's horrible, but just the way it's shot, it's like a cheesy action movie. It's like, oh, damn it, holy shit, he got an axe in the face. Whoa.
Now it didn't turn into like the stupid shit with like Mission Impossible, right? Where like everybody's like, there's like 50 million of them,
No.
like Mission Impossible 20. It's like, all right, like Fast and Furious is getting a little bit old. That's why they had to do the Hobbs and Shaw thing.
Jeez. I did you see Hobbs and Shaw?
No, my buddy was like, we're gonna go see it, and then I texted him, all right, we're gonna go see it. He's like, I already saw it. I'm like, you suck.
It's you can't. I saw a video that like explained that like you can't watch the Fast and Furious movies with your brain on. Just turn them off and enjoy them for like just the dumb fun they are.
The concept is so simple and it's so easy for somebody to understand. It's fast cars, explosions, guns, sometimes a little bit of love.
Mm-hmm.
That's anything to capture basically any guy's attention. So you already got basically a dominant audience right there. I'm not saying women aren't understaffed, but when it comes to going to movies, it's most likely guys trying to get drunk or go to find a way to sneak in candy and break the law a little bit.
Yeah, definitely seeing like The Rock just delivering one-liners. That was worth price of admission.
Yeah, right. Like an hour of explosion, then one thing was just like The Rock's just like, let's get it done. I'm like, oh shit.
I think there was it in Fast 7. There's a line where he's just like he's like, I got good and bad news. He goes, I like my dessert first. So the guy gives him the good news. He's like, now for the damn veggies. And it's just funny.
What the fuck?
There's all these like cheesy line deliveries. That's like the one that sticks out. Give me the damn veggies.
But it's funny because then the one thing you take back from the movie is that one liner. You're like, oh, dude, I don't even remember what happened in that fight scene, but I remember that he was just like, and it's like CIA really tried that that show, the Crime Files thing, where they had the sunglasses on at night and they would just take it off when they got near the body. Like some dude got freaking decapitated and he's like, I call that a close shave. And then like looks at the camera or does whatever, and then like there's like a sudden pause, like everybody's supposed to be like, that's the one-liner for the show. And like, but that show was filled with them. It was just those guys doing one-liners the whole time. I'm like, you're trying to do these moments that don't need to be happening right now.
I feel like it's just like they just know, like, hey, we're not making anything like great here. We're not going for like award winning stuff. Let's just have fun with it. Let's just put in these dumb lines and hopefully get a take on set with no one laughing because it's ridiculous.
Do you think movies are better the old school ways, like kind of in the past, and they're kind of now just becoming really dumbed down?
No, I think there's still a lot of good movies getting made. I think it's obviously now like with the internet and everything, like we do focus on like, oh, like these movies get out, and of course the bigger the movies are, like they're always going to be like crowd pleasers, so they're not going to be the best. But there's still a lot of good movies coming out. Like there's a lot of good indie films. Of course, I'm trying to think like first one that comes to mind, not indie, but like Quentin Tarantino's new movie came out. I think that's really good.
Well, anything Quentin Tarantino produces is pretty damn good, mostly because it takes him 7 years to make a movie.
That's the thing. It's like he likes it. There's what was it? I just saw Midsummer from the guy who did Hereditary earlier this summer. That was pretty good. That was really trippy. I mean, there's a lot of good movies. That's like people that say like, oh, the only good movies was back, or the only good music was made like back in the 70s or 60s. And it's like, yeah, there was good music back then, but there's so much good music now. And like, back in the 60s, you had to go and buy a vinyl. You couldn't get on your phone. You didn't have a cell phone. So I think, oh shit.
But you're adapting to a whole new, at least environment. Like a lot of people talk shit that like the cartoons and all this stuff, all the old ones they're bringing back, like they're not good anymore. I'm like, it's not fit for you anymore. You got to realize, like, you know how hard it is to keep somebody off their cell phone for 5 minutes? You know how hard that is? Like, those little kids are addicted to that thing now. And it's like the only way they can truly not pay attention to their phone or pay attention to a Snapchat is when they're watching Teen Titans Go and they're doing some crazy, like, this stupid little joke explosion fart joke type thing that's going to capture a little kid's attention. And like, I see my little cousin watch it all the time. And I look at him. I'm like, it's not fit for me, but like, you want to talk about it when you get done watching it, come talk to me about it. Like they just redid Rocco's Modern Life, like that whole thing.
I just saw that.
And like, I'm watching that and I'm like, oh my God, like I can't watch it. And the whole reason is it's not like the show lost the concept. It's just the fact that like the drawing, that everything is newer. And it's like, it's not what I remember. It's not what was like imprinted on me when I was a child. I remember waking up at freaking like 5 a.m, going up in front of the TV and even like an hour before school and watching Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, watching freaking, those types of cartoons, Dragon Ball Z, and like eating my Fruity Pebbles, dude. Like those were moments I'm going to remember for the rest of my life because every time I even see that show or think of it now, I get a craving for Fruity Pebbles.
I think it's just like, I think it's also a thing with every generation, like with what people treat like the newer generation below them. Like our parents, I'm sure my parents probably watched me watch like Ed, and Eddie, and they're like, what the hell is my kid watching? This is like the dumbest thing I've ever seen, but I love that stuff. So now when I see like my like little nieces and nephews looking at shit, and I'm like, this looks so brain dead. They probably,
I used to not think that, and then I saw the one episode where Ed was grounded and they couldn't find Ed's stairs. Like, Ed, where's your stairs? He's like, I told you I'm grounded. And his parents took the stairs away.
Took him out.
I was like, oh shit. Like, I just realized how dumb this show really is. Like, I started analyzing Rolf a little bit more. Like, what am I really paying attention to? And the next thing I know, it's like, Rolf's like, I am the son of a shepherd. But I'm like, having that, like, Ed and Eddie is the perfect representation of what a culture should be like because there were ethnicities, there were different variations of people, and they all lived right beside each other. How often nowadays do you just find like it's just white people all in your neighborhood?
Yeah. Well, those kids were all dead, and that was an allegory for purgatory.
Yeah, that's what they say because he never grew up.
if you want to open up that can of worms. But yeah, I think that it's just some things feel like they're like, oh, they're getting worse now, but I think everything kind of stays the same. It's just how you look at it. Just your
Now, what do you do professionally? Because we just went off completely off that and went on to
Oh yeah, we should probably introduce my.
We should probably get a little bit of background information on you. Just so people are like, who is this wonderful person that is talking about the Nazis already?
All right, I'll do my dating site intro. Hi, my name's Colton Brooks. I'm a 22-year-old college student, and I'm currently majoring in communications media, focus in production. For a job, I'm currently in between jobs at the moment. I'm getting ready to move back down for college, so take a little time off. So yeah, that's what I do professionally right now.
Hold on. What's the in between jobs though?
Okay. That's just a nice way of saying unemployed.
You're unemployed?
Yeah. Oh. At this moment.
I was about to say, I thought you were like, you had some job that you were like considering that wasn't worth anything. I'm like, bro, every job has a good part to it.
There, I am. Speaking of, I am to receive a phone call today, whether or not I'm going to have a job, because I had an interview, but we'll find out. We might have to do a follow up.
What type of place is it?
It's a hobby shop. It sells like cards, comic books. So it's like a part-time gig.
So do you have a fascination with like art, like in that form, or do you find it like it's just a fun, like relaxing type hobby?
I haven't been like with things like with like card games and like comics. I like them. I've always liked like learning about them, but I've never had like the funds to really invest in like buying them. If that makes sense. Like I would love to have a bunch of like some like the major comic books on like a shelf or something at one point, but I haven't gotten to that point yet.
You can buy freaking Yu-Gi-Oh cards and Pokemon cards for like 10 cents off this one website. It's like cardtrader.com. Dude, I ordered, I think when I was just saving my money and I was like, I'm not going anywhere but school, work, and gym. So I'm like, and gas in my car and groceries. So I'm spending $100 and I'm making like more than that. So it's like, it's going in my bank account. So my bank account's just rising. I'm like, I'm going to start buying some stupid shit. Next thing I know, I'm ordering Bakugan and I'm ordering like Yu-Gi-Oh cards and all these types of things. My mom's like, yo, you're 21. I'm like, yo, when I was 10 years old, you sold all my shit for 50 cents in a giant tub at a garage sale. So this is me recapturing my nostalgia. And my buddy walks in my house. He's like, dude, are those Neopets? I'm like, bruh, $80 on Amazon. He's like, what the hell's wrong with you? I'm like, I don't know. There's too much shit I want. And he goes, yeah, but you're not buying anything that's going to benefit you. Like, what are you going to do with those? Just keep them there. I'm like, dude, every time I look at this, I flash back to the McDonald's Happy Meal when I was 6 years old and my world was perfect.
That's what you gotta do, man. You gotta find your passions in life.
I think, what do you aspire, like, what do you want to do, I guess, say down the road? Because you're saying you're going into communications and production, which I kind of picked up a little bit because you were analyzing like the one-liners in Fast and Furious. I was like, yo, this guy sees production in a little bit different way.
Of course, I think it's mostly everyone, most people I know that are in that major, the whole dream is to get into movies. Is to make movies and stuff or work on TV shows, which I would love to do. I would love to write, direct, but I'm realistic about it. I know that's like kind of a, that's gonna be hard work getting to that point. But I just have made it that I want to just do anything that, like, if I could work with entertainment in any capacity, like I don't have to be the director, but if I'm a cameraman on a set or if I'm helping out, like, that's my goal. Is like I just want to help contribute to make something that people enjoy. So that's what I try to do in like any, like, either movies, TV, various things. I love providing entertainment to people.
So do you not have the aspect to kind of perform in it, or do you just want to be the guy like in the background that sets everything up and does all the hard ass work?
I I don't know, because like I've also thought about doing like stand up comedy once I like obviously got to move to a city where there's actual uh comedy places. So there's like that. I do like doing that. I have a Twitch channel, so that's, I guess you can consider that performing. Like on there when you just kind of hamming it up for the camera. But I don't know. I've done both sides of the camera work just in like school projects. It is fun being on both sides. It's like they got their pros and cons. But like, if I'm trying to do something serious, I'm not like a well trained actor. So I'd rather have someone that knows what they're doing that can like take my directions on the other side than myself, if that makes
Dude, I find it so weird, like because actors, like, I wanted to do that for a short, brief time, but I don't know. I'm like, I like being like the idea of being like that'd be cool, be super, super popular, but then there's always a side effect to something. Like you either become like Jim Carrey, where he got into roles and would like get so into them that he would like spit on people and he would act like that person, even though that he
yeah.
might have just got the wrong information. That person really didn't do that. Like, you ever seen Christian Bale, like the weight loss and weight gain transformation he
Yeah.
took from all of his movies?
Yeah, it's
Like,
pretty insane.
if you ever seen The Machinist, like, have you ever seen that movie?
I haven't seen it, but I know what he looks like. And then he went from like that to Batman, right?
Yeah, and he gained like I forgot. It was like I'm trying to think. It was scary. Like he was basically to the point
Yeah.
of death, like during The Machinist, and like you could see his bones ripping through. Like he looked straight up like a skeleton. Like that's not
Yeah.
healthy. And his average everyday weight's like 185, and he's been from the 122 in The Machinist, and then to us like 225 in that movie Cheney. Like you hear that, it's like he's doing this and he's all doing this in like month or almost like a year's time span, like bam bam bam, just going, and then like becoming Batman. Like he got, when he played Batman Begins, they were like, yo, like you put on too much weight. They're like, what?
Yeah.
He's like, what do you mean? He's like, yo, like you bulked up like a bear. Batman's not a bear. Batman's just a big guy. So when you see him doing push-ups in the movie, like when he gets out of bed, that was ways they were incorporating into the movie of him losing weight.
I knew he did that. I didn't know like all the like production stuff. That is pretty interesting. But like I guess if you're Christian Bale and you're getting paid, I mean, he's probably getting paid the whole time to train. So, he's probably like, screw it. Yeah, let's do it. Let's just go balls to the wall with it and see if he can.
But doesn't that like kind of get a little bit weird, because you focus on like how society today is a little bit played towards like judging other people's bodies, especially looking up to famous people for having like extremely ripped bodies.
Um, I don't know if that necessarily is like, I think there's a difference between like him doing like the body transformations versus like, people on Instagram that like Photoshop themselves to look the best that they possibly can be. I think what he does, it's like he obviously does it with a purpose for the movie. Like he didn't gain a bunch of weight to look like Dick Cheney because he's like, oh, I'm gonna look so hot as former Vice President Dick Cheney. He's like, no, this is like, I want to embody the character Dick Cheney, so I gotta look like him. I gotta physically like look and feel like him to get into his mindset. Um, but yeah, I don't think he would be. Some people might say like he might have like body dysmorphia, but I'm not sure. I don't really know that much about that stuff.
I can tell you, if you're messing with your body that much, you don't have body dysmorphia, because you're so focused on like, even if you gain a pound, you're freaking out. Like you can't do weight
Yeah,
transformations easy. Like you can lose weight easy, but putting it on is like a giant problem. But I mean, the fact that like you're willing to commit that hard to just sacrificing all your hard work just to get yourself in a shitty ass position. Dude, in American Hustle, he was 228, dude. He had a gut, man. Like he was a fat dude.
he was a unit.
And everyone was like, yo, like that dude's like, he's wearing a fat suit. Like, nah, that's him, man. He was like, I'm going to stuff nothing but Twinkies and cream rolls down my throat for the next couple of like just year. And then next thing you know, he's dropping down weight and like going and playing all these like different positions. It's like, you hear this stuff, you're like, wow, man, like for seriousness, like you got something that's crazy driven in your mind. And apparently he was kind of like a jerk on set too. A lot of people said that he was like yelling, like if someone screwed up a line or something because they had to do like a retake, he was like, are you serious? You can't do your job right? And I'm like, I see now where that, like a lot of people would see that, be like, there's no way, like that dude's ridiculous. That dude's an asshole. It's like, no, he's really passionate about what he actually wants to do with life. But he's going to take, you know, eating cream puffs every single day and morning on set of Cheney to gain weight for a role. And you can't even do the right thing by be able to fucking remember a line.
It's there's like production, they can get intense because like, you know, there's so much money and like everyone's on a time thing, like it's strict, you know, strict budget, strict time, and if somebody messes up and it like takes up 10-20 minutes, that's so much money that's been lost depending on like the set. But you know, so it leads to like, people exploding, like people like these, it's the like working in production like that is very high stress, high reward. Well, high stress, not maybe great reward if you're just like a PA and you know you're getting yelled at to go run and get coffee and making sure you're not, you know, spilling it or tripping over stuff.
I think, but you got to have a start somewhere if you're going to especially dive into the production field. Like, I know you said you kind of want to work in production. You don't know if you want to do stand-up comedy, but like, what's do you have an end goal in mind? Like, do you want to perform your own, like directing entertainment, like station? Do you want to do your own type of like film, I guess, label?
I think my goal now that I think would be good is if I could be able to do like almost like a production company, basically where I could just, you know, feed myself off of doing like creative work where I don't have to do a 9-to-5 job, you know, where I can, if I can, you know, at the end of the day, buy a house, you know, be able to raise a family and like do stuff that I love, then that's good. That's good enough for me. But you know, obviously it would be nice to become, you know, famous. You make big movies. You know, I'd love winning an Oscar. I think that'd be, you know, one of the greatest things. But you know, I'm not going to be like, if I don't win an Oscar, you know, I'll be a failure. Because I'm like, I mean, I'm realistic about things.
I think you have to set obtainable goals, but like winning an Oscar is a little bit different because you're being voted the best, and it's like, isn't everything supposed to be the best? Like, isn't it's all your own interpretation of what you see of it? Like a lot of people hated the Green Lantern with Ryan Reynolds. Even Ryan Reynolds hated the Green Lantern. I could tell you 100%, I fucking love that movie. Only because, I mean, a lot of things they obviously did wrong, but I'm like, the Green Lantern is one of my favorite superheroes. So we finally had a Green Lantern movie. Like, it was like, oh shit, like I'm not going to knock it. This is the only one out there.
Yeah, there's been a couple times where I've like seen a movie or just seen something. I'm like, you know what? That's not too bad. I'm like, yeah, it was all right. And then you go find out and everyone's like, it's the worst thing ever created. That is a sin. That all that is holy. Like that needs to be burned. And I'm like, it was just okay.
See, they start looking at it like it's the Hitler of movies for that year. You're like, no, it's not. It's not. It's not. Is it really that bad? Was Ryan Reynolds in an animated suit compared to the Nazis? I don't know. Not in my interpretation of it. I think, like, dude, if you really go into production and you try and focus on so many things you have to kind of get right, like to make a strong movie today, make something or make any type of creative work that's going to truly inspire you, have to hit so many bases 100%. You cannot half-ass anything.
Yeah.
You got to make sure you got the right cast. You got to make sure you got the right people working together. You got to make sure you got the right tools. You got to make sure you got the best equipment. You got to make sure you got background equipment too, in case that first equipment goes faulty. Like, there's so many things you have to worry about. And a lot of people just think, oh, it's just writing a script and then pointing people in which way you want your idea to go. I'm like, that's the smallest basis. That's like, when you're at work and you get that 30-minute lunch break, that's the director's lunch break is when he's able to do that. But the rest of the time, he's got to be worried about Jim, who's supposed to bring him his coffee, that accidentally spilled a bunch of lattes on the mic system, and now the mics don't work.
Yeah. And that's like now, and like I said, with like technology and stuff, it's so much easier now for people to make like, short indie films. Like my one teacher, I had a class and he was an indie director, and he told us, he's like, because everyone's focused on, like, I even got into the mindset where I'm like, I need a good camera. Like I want to spend like $500 to $1,000 on a camera. And they're like, no, you don't need to do that. Everyone has cameras in their pockets. And, it kind of sounds silly. And yeah, he's like, if you got an iPhone, he's like, if you got an iPhone, 6 or 7 or an iPhone 8 or 10, it's like, you're set. You're filming on a good camera. Like that's your tool. Like figure out how to use it. And that's the one thing it's like that I've struggled with that I want to get better at is using my tool. Cause I always get caught up in the mindset of like, oh, I want to offer to help out with this, but all I have is my phone, and that's going to look kind of ridiculous if I show up and go, yeah, I'll help film. Look, I got my phone here. But it's good. You just got to sell that and convince people of that.
I think like for me, like I post like on maybe my Instagram or something besides like sunset photos or something like that, just something like you see in nature, you caught something right, you see it in a certain way. I'm like, yo, my phone's perfect for that. And like I took my buddy out one time and we were just going around skateboarding and trying to catch different angles. I was showing him stuff that he was not seeing. Like he would stop and turn around and see me like a mile behind him. Like, why is he fucking laying down on the road right now? And I'm like taking a picture of the yellow lines because the way it curved, the line paint was a little bit off. And I'm like, then I showed it to him. He's like, well, that looks really good. And I was like, yeah, right. Like, you see what you can do for an iPhone? He got super interested in it, decided to spend freaking $2,000 something on a professional like Nixon camera. Yeah. And then he went all out with the attachments. Like, I'm going to be this. And now he goes out shouting like, I take professional photographs. I'm like, good, man. You got the camera that's doing a lot of the work for you, but I'm like, I can't knock it. But the fact like you just did that because of the fact that you saw something I was interested in, decided you were going to hop into that by thinking that you can put all your money into it and get the best equipment that's going to give you the skills. I can give you millions of examples of people that have where talent beats money, skill beats money. And hard work beats money. I mean, hard work beats skill sometimes too.
Mm-hmm. That's like, yeah, there's so many people out there, like even like YouTube, you just see the people that make great, content that people love and watch. And it's, if you looked at it and you're like, what, this doesn't make any sense. Like, how the hell is this person, like they're using this crappy webcam or they're not using the best mic. I'm like, oh, they're not even putting videos on their thing. It's just like, them talking into a webcam or them just putting still pictures up. But like,
don't judge me.
They,
that was a fucking hardcore freaking slide at me.
No. I'm saying like, but like these people, because they, I think at the end of the day, it's like the content, that's like the bedrock. If you can have all the flashy stuff, you can have all the best equipment, but if your content sucks or if you like don't really put any effort or work into it, it's not, the end result's not going to be good. Like, yeah, it'll look flashy, but it won't be memorable,
Yeah, like mine's just like I was going to do video 200 to 300 episodes in, and I'm just getting into season 2. So it's like that's about 100 episodes. Now we're going up into the we got to start heading towards 200. I'm like, those are goals, but they're not my priorities right now. My priorities are trying to get like people and trying to get like conversations going. Cause like, if you can, the content's going to be great because if you're truly having a good conversation or just truly having a conversation, like that's good anyway. It doesn't matter if you guys get into an argument or disagree on things. It's just the fact that like we all walk around this earth not knowing one another. Like we live, me and you live so close basically compared to other people around the country. It's like We don't even take an hour to be able to do this. I'm like, screw it. Let's go. Let's start talking about Germans. Let's talk whatever you want. Like, it's all about, like, we all think around the same basis, but no one wants to get the time to know Jim from accounting who works 9 to 5.
Yeah. That's like, it is really amazing. Just even for me going to college, just some of the people you meet, they're, I've met people that are from just different parts of the world, and they're like, yeah, I came to school in this little Indiana, I went to school in this little Pennsylvania town. I'm like, that's the weirdest thing I've ever heard. Like, why would you come here as in like someone from the area? But they're like, oh no, I'm here. And like, meeting people is so much, it's so interesting because you can meet so many cool people and you like realize that you have a lot in common, even if you grew up on opposite sides of the world.
Well, there's two theories people say when it comes to why kids always travel when they go to college, like try and go to a different state, is to get away from their parents. And also, yeah, it's just basically get away from your parents. That's just because you're experiencing something different, also like going to a different place, but you don't want to be doing bad stuff that you're probably going to end up doing on college campus, considering that everything that kind of goes on there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you want to experience everything without feeling like your parents are like a street away from you, being able to come by and see what you're doing. Like, you want that comfortability notion. My cousin's a diabetic. Let me tell you, he's homeschooled. He has missed out so much on what I see as the benefits of going to school, that bus ride in the morning, sitting next to people you don't like on the bus, being afraid of bullies also, but it's also experiencing other cultures, dude. Like, my name's Robbie. I was able to sit next to a Muslim woman whose name was Robbie as well, but she spelled it in a completely different way from me, dressed completely different from me, and was just completely indifferent in every aspect. And just being able to talk to her and, make her comfortable and for me, like, inform myself just on a different culture. Like, my cousin misses that when he's just sitting at home or he's going to church or something. He doesn't get the true aspect of, why public schools are so beneficial. If you go to a private school, you're enclosing yourself off to already a large number of the population.
Yeah, I went to I grew up in a small town, and like I went to a private elementary school up until, was it 6th grade, then 7th grade I went to public school, and I wish I went a lot earlier because, of course I met a lot of my lifelong friends in this. It's still a small public school comparatively, but like, you meet so many more people there, and I'm like, I wish I was there longer, so I was like friends with these people earlier, and like just missing out on so many of these like experiences. They might like, to a parent, they might seem like, oh, that's awful, but that's like shit teaches you about life. It's like, yeah, doing dumb shit with my friends wasn't probably the smartest thing to do, but it taught me about stuff. It taught me, try to, be responsible. It taught me like, oh, this is what could go wrong if you screw around. It's like, so now it's like, no, I don't have to screw around. I don't have to do dumb stuff because I did dumb stuff when I was a kid. That's so I'm glad I wasn't sheltered, because that's being sheltered is not good for you.
Well, it's the idea, like, anybody oppressing you in any type of way, like Catholic schoolgirls, they're always known as super freaks because they're just pent up all the time. You have to wear a certain look. You have to dress a certain way. You have to act a certain way. You got to learn a certain way. You got to hang out with people that do the same thing as you. Eventually, they're going to want to fuck. And that's only because the whole thing is they've been told that they can't do that. They can't act that way, but it all builds up to the point where you want to break out. I mean, a lot of what happens, people say like, oh, that person that shot up that store was crazy. I'm like, no, they were pent up. They were full. They were tired of all this shit that kept piling on top of them, and they had no way of releasing their stress. They had no way to deal with everything like that, where it either breaks out in a aggressive anger or it breaks out in a mental health like seriousness case. I'm like, we all deal with shit on a day-to-day basis. We just got to find where we can unload that shit and not feel like it's going to control the rest of our life.
Yeah, on a side note, they're bringing up the Catholic schoolgirls. Funny story about one of the reasons I did leave private school is because so elementary Christian school, everyone wants their kids to start out in elementary school and have that good base, but once you get up into the high school levels, all those parents that put their kids in there took them out, and the only kids that are left are the ones that get kicked out of public school. So those were like some of the more misbehaved kids were in the Christian school than they were at public school, because that's what I like told my parents, because they're like, "Oh, you're gonna go to public school and you're gonna get so many bad influences." I'm like, do you know who I go to school with? Like, these kids got in like so many fights, they got kicked out of all the other schools. But yeah, I think that is like something. It's like people are, if they get so many restrictions on them, or if they're not given like a good base, they just don't know how to control themselves. And
Well,
like you said,
you're losing like the most beneficial foundation tools for everyday life, dude. Like, you're going to not be in public school or private school when you get older. Hopefully, you're not 45 years old still
yeah,
sitting in sixth grade. But when you're going out into the world, you're experiencing everybody. Like, you're experiencing all cultures, you're experiencing all variety of people. And if you're not used to that from the start, then you're going to be very closed minded when you grow up.
and you're just encountering more just different opinions. I think now a lot of times it's with social media and stuff, we're all in our own little bubbles. So when anyone comes in and says something different, instead of saying like, okay, let's talk about this, now it's like, no, screw you, you must be a Nazi, or oh, you're just a dumb liberal. And I think that's like why, not to get too political, but that's why like a lot of things are so partisan, or either it's either a left, right, or no way at all. um because people aren't used to, what do we call it, adversion, I don't know if that's the
Adversity.
adversity. It's 7 a.m., folks. We're still a little fuzzy.
We're getting down to the base roots of things, and that's that everyone's got an opinion, but no one wants to look where that opinion came from. No one wants to question anybody that gave them that opinion. They're just going to take it and run with it. I'm like, bruh, do you even know the true facts behind it? Did you even decide looking into it for a minute, or did you just decide to listen to Nancy Grace when she told you that you're eating marijuana and you're contaminating the children, sir? And I'm like, oh my God. Like, when I hear her voice now, I literally want to punch somebody in the face, because it was on TV all the time when I was a kid. My mom was addicted to it, listening to that show. Nancy Grace complaining about something. It was just all saying, and then she's not letting a woman talk. You know who Nancy Grace is, right?
Yeah.
Okay. There was an episode of her where she's sitting there like, can you tell her? I told her not to wear white. She is wearing white. Tell her to change. Tell her to change. And she's on air. Like, the girl's like, I can't change. I'm in front of the camera right now, getting ready. Like, we're in a whole different location. There's no sensations I can go buy a t-shirt at. I'm stuck in this dress. And she goes, I told you there were 3 other people wearing white on the show. I didn't want another person that was going to be wearing a white dress on the show. It's going to make it look bad. And she just kept going. And then it was all settled. Everything was good. They decided to move on. 5 minutes later, she jumps right back into it. God, I just can't. I can't do it. I'm like, oh my God, why are you so evil?
Yeah, I think a lot of those like old big media types are all prima donnas. Like, there was a famous Bill O'Reilly clip where he just like freaks out. He's like, we're do it live then. And just, multiple instances of those people just, they let themselves get to their own head.
Would
They
you
just
say that's
freak out.
being passionate for something they're interested in, or do you see it as like a personal, like, celebrity ploy, much like Donald Trump kind of outbreaks the community a little bit?
I think when it gets to that, it's not like, hey, you're screwing up something that I care about. It's more like, no, this is my this is my show. Like, I'm in charge here. I'm the one who was the name on the show. I'm the big person. It's not
I'm
like
the one who knocks.
yeah, it's them kind of like, I think, getting, drinking their own Kool-Aid and believing, they're the top shit just because their name's on there. But it's like, no, if you really wanted to, those people don't really have any power. If the executives that run the channel want you off, you're off. At least back then. Now you could do a podcast, or you could do,
Find your own platform.
yeah.
I think like when you look at entitlement, people think they're entitled to a lot more than they probably deserve at the time. I think you should be entitled to anything, but I think at the same time you shouldn't expect it to happen. Like
Mm.
I have a friend who's stubborn as hell, and like if he won't like I'll open up the door for him and then he won't say thank you or won't say anything like that. He'll just walk right in and I'll grab him by the shoulder, pull him out, walk in, shut the door, and he'll know like that means you got to say thank you afterwards. Like he thinks he's entitled and people are going to open the doors for him. And I've done it. And like his mom's like, yo, like you've corrected his kind of demeanor a little bit. I catch him sometimes. Like he'll say thank you and stuff. I'm like, right? And she's like, I don't know where he lost that. I'm like, he thinks he's super, super entitled. I'm like, you guys kind of spoiled him a little bit. And every time I come over, I humble his ass.
Yeah, uh that's something like I was always taught, raised that way, like say thank you, just be kind of nice to people.
I mean,
You think that's a basic thing people know, then you run across somebody that they have no clue, they never learned that, and you're like, holy shit, how have you gone through life?
it's becoming like I'm a pretty nice guy in public. When I'm like, well, obviously, when I'm upset, I'm a little bit in a rush to get things done. I don't like it in my way, but I try and not take it out. I try and catch myself in those moments. But like, if I'm holding the door open for you and you don't say thank you, I'm going to be like, you're welcome. And then you're going to look at me like, what'd you say? I'm like, I said, you're fucking welcome. Like, you're going to fight me after I just held the door open for you. Come back over here and I'll make you bite the curb. Now, I'm not just obviously I'm being a little bit crazy there, but no, it's like you literally like, why are you going to get mad at me for correcting you on your rudeness? Like, you can't say thank you for this person that holds open the door for
Yeah.
you. Like, I'm going out of my time to stand here with my foot in front of the door, so you're able to walk through and you're able to go into the store first. Bam, you should already be like, thank you, sir. I hope you have a wonderful day. I'm like, good. Now I'm not going to jump off the top of a hotel. Thank you. Like some people feel like that's what they need to do. They feel like the world is shit, and they feel like if they see one act of random goodness in the world, that could change that shit flow. And next thing you know, people don't give them that, and then they're gone. I think a lot of the world today needs to work on being a little bit better, not sensitive, but better, as in
Yeah.
stop worrying about what someone's wearing and start saying thank you again. Start saying please, start saying, acting kind to one another, not being sensitive or being afraid to talk to somebody because you're afraid you're going to hurt their feelings. That's just ridiculous.
Mm. Yeah, I think definitely like, I don't know, it definitely feels more like people are divided into their little subgroups. And granted, I think that is just a byproduct of our internet age. But I think that it's good that people that have little communities, but we need to get back to like, okay, we're all still in the same country, we're all still fucking humans. Like, we got to have like a decency amongst each other. And I don't know. I don't know if it actually is. It just kind of feels like it when the way you look at the news. The news wants you to think that it's like a Civil War II out there, but
It's mean world syndrome. They try and display bad media, so it seems like it'll scare you, not want to
yeah.
think the world's an okay place. The
I mean,
world is the
I'd
world is shit. So I mean, you got to sift through the shit. You got to find the beauty in it that lies underneath the surface, dude.
that's thinking like, you know what? I'd be fine with a Civil War. I think I'd do all right.
What?
I think I'd do okay.
That's some zombie apocalypse bullshit you're talking about right now, dude.
Dude, just why not?
Everybody's got a plan for the zombie apocalypse. You tell me you don't have a plan for when the zombies come.
Yeah, I do.
What is it?
I got a different plans for different situations.
If you say buy a boat, you got different plans for different situations. You got multiple scenarios running in your head.
Yeah, like if it's zombies, it's gonna be one plan. If it's like a Civil War, I got another plan.
What's that plan for the Civil War?
Uh,
Buy a bunch of beef jerky and stock it up in a shed.
Yeah, just try to find either, just try to go out in the woods, they have to commandeer some weapons, and try to try to rebuild society. I'd make a little village. I think it'd be easy.
What would you call your village?
I don't know.
And who would be allowed to come into your village? Is it only the strong will survive, or are you open to all members?
See, that's the thing. Like, it wouldn't be right away because you gotta let the weak ones be just naturally thinned out in the war.
Jesus.
That's just that. Hey, I mean, I'm just hiding in the woods during this moment, so I'm not doing anything.
The
I
village
was,
is not established yet until the weak will die first, and then we start to establish the village.
well,
So I
yeah,
don't feel like
after
that's
the
secure.
fighting is calmed down, because you don't want to be, in the middle of the shootout going, guys, come on, let's sign this charter. That's how you get shot.
You're already gonna have charters?
I don't know. What do you need to make a village?
I don't know. Just build a couple sticks, start building some stuff, and just start running a village.
I don't know if
I'm pretty sure there's not like a paper everybody needs to sign for a building to be established when you're creating a village from the start.
primitive technology's not got to that episode yet, so I really don't know how society starts. So
I think it's got to be the point like you got to have a bunch of people working together, and then you start seeing like Jim not pulling his own weight, not doing anything to help out the community. He's just sitting on his ass all day eating everybody's food and eating all the berries I just picked. Well, I might have to take Jim outside the village for a little bit and lose him out on the road.
isn't the
Come on, Jim, get in the car. And then when we go out into the country and I open up the door, you're free.
It's like of mice of men. Poor Lenny.
You can't have those weak links though. It's not even like I'm telling you.
If it is a survival scenario where it's like, listen, we gotta make sure our shit's together, we're dead, yeah. But if it's like, hey, Tim's not really contributing to the PTA meeting, I think I'm gonna take him for a little drive out by the lake.
What are you gonna shoot him in the back of the head, Don Corleone style?
Hey, if you got to, take the Godfather.
I wouldn't kill him that way. I'd just drop him off in the middle of nowhere, probably with like no food, and I hope nature would just take its course. He'd run into like
put a
Bigfoot
bag
or
on his head, spin him around a couple times,
do some Walking Dead type shit.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fascination with those shows, though, like Lost and all that. People want to see what would happen, like if they want to put themselves in that scenario, like Naked and Afraid. They want to know what it would be like to just try and build from the scratch without having anything given to us. 9 times out of 10, you're not going to be able to because you're not really associated to what it's like to be off your iPhone for 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's what guy like. Have you ever watched that YouTuber Primitive Technology?
No.
He's this dude. I don't know where he's from, but the guy literally just goes out in the woods. I think it's I don't know. It's weird. But he goes out. He doesn't talk the entire time, and he just like builds like primitive technology, like caveman stuff. Like he makes huts out of clay and like leaves that he cuts down, and he shows you how he does everything, like how he makes tools out of stones. I definitely recommend it to anyone listening. Just check it out. It's weirdly calming. It's almost like an ASMR channel because you just hear him like slapping mud together and making a wall. You're like, oh, this is nice.
Is it like soothing sound effects? You're just sitting there and all you hear is like.
Yeah. Then 10 minutes later, this guy's got a whole like, a nice little house.
Maybe he's building it offset. It's that Bear Grylls stuff, dude, where they're like, he's drinking his own urine.
No, he's that dude's legit. He's just by himself. He just films everything, doesn't say anything. I don't even know where he's from, but he's a pretty big channel, dude. You check him out. Definitely, pretty sure people have heard of him.
He's probably from like Ohio or something, where he's like, I'm just gonna freaking forget.
Is there a jungle in Ohio?
I don't know. Is he in the jungle or is he in a forest?
I don't know, dude.
What classifies a jungle and a forest?
I don't know. There's a lot of trees, there's a lot of overgrowth. Can't really tell. Can't really tell either way. I think it's definitely another country. But it's fascinating. That's a good since bring it back to conspiracies, since YouTube removed like all the really good conspiracy videos, that's only one of the few ones you could watch now.
I think the only thing is that they removed it because like they were seeing like this is becoming a problem. Too many people are really taking this like to the heart. They're taking it to the core. Like they're not truly thinking of it as a funny like what happens or what if type thing.
It breaks my heart. A couple of years ago, it was so much fun being in conspiracies. Like, I would find these random videos. I would just fall asleep to them because they were just like it'd be like some like British guy talking about like the craziest shit. He's like, "Oh yes, actually the pyramids were made on Jupiter and they were transported here by the lizards, and then we made a deal with the polar bears, and now Antarctica's cold." And like just some random shit, and you're like, "Oh, he's got some stock images up there." I'm like, I'm not really sure what's going on, but this is soothing. Like, it's like rain sounds.
It's the whole idea of being like a speaker. You need to have like a Morgan Freeman voice. Like Morgan Freeman is nobody's getting like they play that at bars to soothe down the drunk people. Like, my name is Morgan Freeman. Let me tell you a little something. You are drunk right now. You're going to go home in 5 minutes because you're listening to the soothing sounds of my voice. And you're like, oh shit. Like, I just got a hug from my dead grandma and I feel like I can be at life again. I can enjoy the world again. Those types of people, the people that you see that have a type of good speaking, that when they start talking, you're like, you just talk some more. Like, can you record my audio for like my voicemail? So every time someone calls me, it's freaking, who's the guy that played Mufasa in the new one? Played Darth Vader. Yeah, you get that guy on your freaking speaker, or you get that on your voicemail. Like, people are just calling and hoping you don't pick up at that point.
Was he the voice of the old one and the new one?
I don't know about the old one, but I know that's him in the new one. Because I was like, yo, they have Mufasa toys at McDonald's. My cousin was getting a burger. I was like, yo, I'm getting a Mufasa toy. Got it. And then it talks. So every time you walk into my room, it's like, everything the light touches is ours. I'm like, oh, yes, it is. Yes, it is.
I don't, not a fan of the Disney remakes.
I'm not, like I said, they do some good stuff, some bad stuff. But can't go wrong with Earl Jones.
That's like, it's so weird. Everyone, speaking of Disney and just Disney making money, it was a couple months ago where Avengers Endgame made more money than Avatar, and everyone was like so hyped and everyone was trying to get it pushed through. But then at the end of the day, you realize that Disney just owns both the rights to Endgame and Avatar. So at the end of the day, people were like, come on, Disney, go and beat Disney for more money. And
it's because they own the market. Any type of kids movie is usually produced by Disney. You always see the freaking, that was weird because DreamWorks was a thing. Was that Disney or no?
DreamWorks, no.
I don't ever see the man fishing on the moon anymore.
DreamWorks is Shrek. That's Universal. Yeah.
I don't ever see the man on the moon fishing anymore. I'm always just seeing the Disney castle and the little Tinkerbell flying above it.
Yeah. That's one thing to do. If wanting to get into production at some point, I'm gonna have to go through all my internet history and just scrub any negative things I've ever said about Disney because
they're gonna buy you.
Disney's gonna buy me, and I'm gonna have to shill out for them. I'm gonna have to be. I'm gonna have to come back on and be like, yeah, I love Mickey Mouse. He's the best.
That's funny because I podcast with people that work at Disney doing audio engineering and stuff, and they're always like, Disney's awesome, Disney's amazing. I'm like, oh shit, is this a corrupt hive mind type thing we're talking about now? Like, are you all like being watched under 24-hour surveillance, like with a brace on that'll explode your neck next thing you know if you say something bad about Disney?
It's like, do you have a Martin's grocery around you?
No, I don't know. America.
I'm in America too, Jesus. But they have this thing now where it's a robot, and it's called Marty the Robot, and he goes down the aisles, and like I think he scans to make things are like stocked, but like, and he'll like, oh, if there's a mess. But the thing is, it's just a robot, and it's like this weird, like, just like an obelisk almost. And it just has googly eyes and a smiley face on it. Like the Forky or whatever it was called from the newest Toy Story. That's what it looks like. But it's like 7 foot and it just goes around with those dead eyes. And the first time I encountered it, I was was there and I was buying, as we do, we're about to go a nice day on the lake, buying some beer, and we go to check out, and Marty pulls up, and I'm a little hesitant because I'm like, I don't know what this robot's doing. It's trying to scan me, making sure I'm not trying to steal or anything. And the guy there, and I'm like, all right, dude, like how is working with a robot? Like, how is it weird? Because I'm like, this is future shit, dude. When you're kids, this is like the future. And he's like, no, I love working with Marty. And he's like, yeah, he saves me so much time. And before I would have to take a half hour doing this. Now it takes me 10 minutes. But the whole time, Marty's looking at those with those dead, beady eyes.
Where's the emotion?
There's none. And I'm like, I wanted to lean in. I'm like, dude, like, are you okay? Are you being held at, like, does Marty have your family in the back or something? Because he's like, no, I love Marty. He's the best. I'm like,
Marty makes my day awesome. My job is so much easier.
and it's like, Marty doesn't even clean up. He doesn't even clean up shit. All he does is go up and down the aisles, and if there's a mess, he just starts screaming.
Secretly, Marty's sliding in his wife's DMs.
He's probably cucked. He's cucked by Marty.
Hey, let me teach you how to really scan a barcode, honey.
It's like, oh my God, he's taking over my work and my wife.
Well, at least I have more
At least I have more time for my hobbies. Next thing you know, you go into your house and Marty's in there in bed with your wife and he's dressed like you. Hello, Larry.
Clean up an aisle. Your wife, bitch.
Just immediately start crying. I guess I got more time for fishing.
Well, I always love supporting new technology.
I
That's
think
not me. You'll never catch me being a fucking robo-cuck.
I think
Not
the
in that
same
hill.
fact, dude. It's the world's coming to something where we're losing people nowadays.
These goddamn robots are trying to fuck all of our women. And I'm going to stand against it.
Dude, they're just not even doing that. They're taking all of our jobs.
That too, Next thing they'll be raising our kids.
Dude, they're already practically doing that now. I mean, that's just like the only job we have for freaking most nannies are now freaking immigrants because that's what develops something weird when your parents aren't connected to you anymore and you got immigrants raising your kids now.
Yeah, okay.
Do you not believe that?
No, I haven't. Well, I mean, like, I'm just in my experience. I never had like a nanny. It wasn't like related to me. But so I don't know anything about like I didn't even have like a babysitter. I just had like family members watch after me.
See,
so I don't know anything about that.
I raised myself a little bit. Like my brother was supposed to be watching me, but he was older, so he just went out and did his own thing.
Like a Spartan situation. They just put you out in the mountains. If you came back, you joined.
Yeah. It's babysitters, dude. Like a babysitters nowadays, they're usually of a different ethnicity than the family. Like they want, and they're usually dominantly female because no one wants a male babysitter.
Yeah, it'd be kind of weird. Saying as like that is a weird thing because like I mentioned, I have nieces and nephews, and I'm always like, oh, I should do something nice, maybe take them to the park. But I'm also kind of worried. I'm like, I really hope no one's like, what's this dude doing with these kids out here? Like, I'm just trying to have a nice family outing. But
you can't have a family outing if Helga's watching your child.
That's true. That's true.
Helga's watching your kid. Little Estala Ganzira is watching your little Jimmy at the park.
Well, he'll learn how to, read the menu at the Spanish restaurants. Be able to order fluently. It's all about give and take.
That's where that's where private schools get eliminated because you have a Mexican nanny.
I'd save money. I think I'll crunch numbers on it, but I think I'd save money.
Why money?
Well, because you're not paying for private school if you have the nanny. I'm sure a nanny's cheaper than private school.
Yeah, but you're getting the culture from your nanny.
Yeah, it's 2 birds, 1 stone.
Oh, shit. Did we just freaking take out private schools?
We just solved the education crisis.
Yo, we became educational mentors.
Get Bernie Sanders on the phone. Get him on the horn.
Tell them if we're get voted for president, we'll fix the education system. That's what people want to see. They don't care about. Actually, they'll probably still be more interested in aliens.
I mean, shit, dude. I mean, they're out there.
Yo, if Area 51 would just solve this whole crisis, if they were just like, hey, here's $10, or no, give us $10. You can come in here and see what you want to see. If you get fucked up from it, we're sorry. But we warned you. There was some stuff in here we didn't want you to see. Now you're going to be able to see it all. Just give me $10 and
well, that's
enjoy
the
rest of
thing.
your life.
That's the thing why they don't tell us about the aliens. Because, like, in the 50s, when we first made contact, President Eisenhower signed a contract with the Greys, giving them like we got their technology, and then they were allowed to probe humans. But they broke it because they're assholes. But they had civilians brought in to witness it because they're like, we got to do some of this above board. But the people that saw it got so fucked up from seeing aliens. That's why they never went public with it.
Oh shit! So it's a conspiracy.
So that's the thing. I don't know what the difference is between a civilian seeing like a regular person and like someone that's just a regular person, but they're also in the military or a politician. But hey,
it's all a grab for power. We all want something out there that's going to be a mystery thing, but at the same time, we don't even know what's truly going on in the background.
Exactly.
All right. Well, you know what? This has been a wonderful podcast, Colton. Let me tell you something. We started off on a little bit of what they would call sketchy ground, but we rised up above that one for sure.
We finally got to the bottom of Hitler.
Yeah, it was all the mustache.
Hitler was an alien this entire time.
Are you serious? That's what they're keeping
around.
in Area 51. Those sons of a gun. Well, dude, it was awesome having you on the podcast, dude. I appreciate you coming on, and hopefully it was
having me on.
Hopefully it was enjoyable. I know we didn't really. You were asking what were topics and all these types of things that you should know about. I was like, dude, it's just conversation.
Yeah, I feel like I knew like maybe 30% of what we were talking about. The rest, I'm not even sure. I kind of blacked out for it.
That's for the viewer, though. They have to go and look that information up. You just get to spout all the random horse shit and listen to the idiots that believe it.
Exactly.
Well, Colton, it was awesome having you on, man, and I hope to have you on again soon.